Hey guys, welcome back to League Talk. Before I jump into the video, before I start talking about anything, I just want to ask you guys to hit the subscribe button and leave a like underneath this video. It'll help me out a lot and I really appreciate it. But let's jump into this thing. It's December, and normally during December you don't expect huge Woj bomb, but we just got one. The Toronto Raptors and the New York Knicks just gave us one of the biggest news of the holidays. It was reported by Adrian Wojnarowski that the Toronto Raptors and the New York Knicks have agreed to a deal that's going to send RJ Barrett back home, essentially back home, but to the Toronto Raptors with Precious Achiuwa. In exchange, the New York Knicks will be receiving, not Precious Achiuwa. So the trade is the New York Knicks are giving up Immanuel Quickley with RJ Barrett, who's returning back to Canada. And in return, the New York Knicks will receive OG Anunoby and Precious Achiuwa. And the Raptors also will receive an additional 2024 second round pick that they're going to probably use this upcoming draft. But that just came out of nowhere is what I would say, but I'm not surprised. Why? Because the New York Knicks have been trying to acquire OG Anunoby for some time now. I would say probably the last 2 seasons, the New York Knicks have popped their head up and they've been speculated to be pursuing OG Anunoby. It goes back to, I think, 2021, end of 2021 was the first time it was reported that the New York Knicks were in the hunt for OG Anunoby. And then last year in 2022, an article came out that said that OG Anunoby was not satisfied with his role with the Toronto Raptors and that he wanted a bigger piece of the pie. Like, he wanted a bigger responsibility with the organization, and they weren't giving him that. And it's kind of understandable, really, when they drafted Scottie Barnes in 2021. Their focus was really, they were going to focus on Scottie Barnes, getting Scottie Barnes touches, getting him more minutes, getting him to develop him into the player that's essentially we know he's going to become. And so because of that, because the attention was really narrowed in on Scottie Barnes, OG Anunoby really didn't feel like he was being developed. Like, he didn't really feel like he was getting a lot from the Toronto Raptors, or he didn't feel like he could be the player that he knew he could be. And so there were rumblings last year that OG Anunoby was unhappy with the Raptors, and he was in a lot of trade talks last year. I remember speaking on this and making videos about how there were plenty of teams that really wanted OG Anunoby. He was hot commodity last offseason and last trade deadline. Particularly, I thought last year he was going to go to a team like Memphis. The Memphis Grizzlies, why I thought he would end up on the Memphis Grizzlies was because the Phoenix Suns had just gotten, really good. They just gotten Kevin Durant, and the West was looking really, really tough. And I thought with the Memphis Grizzlies being, the number 2 seed, a high seed in the Western Conference last year, they were going to need someone that was going to be able to guard a lot of the guys in the Western Conference, like LeBron and Kevin Durant and Luka Doncic and Steph Curry. And so if the Memphis Grizzlies wanted to compete, they would go out and they would get a guy like OG Anunoby, but eventually that never worked out. And the New York Knicks were also in a hunt for OG Anunoby. He was their backup plan if they didn't land Kevin Durant. Now, obviously, if they didn't land Kevin Durant and if they didn't land Donovan Mitchell. Now, they didn't land any of those guys and they didn't get him, but eventually they got him, right? They got him, and the word around the street is that they're going to, have a head start above everyone else to try and negotiate to get him back in free agency, because I think his contract is going to be up here soon. So they wanted him on the team and they want to keep him long term. So they made the trade this year instead of waiting and going and getting him in the offseason. So this was a long time coming. I see a lot of people saying, oh, it came out of nowhere. No, this was going to happen at some point. OG Anunoby had been in trade talks for a while, and I will not be surprised if the New York Knicks also go after Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is kind of in the same position that OG Anunoby was. Donovan Mitchell's contract is coming to an end here soon, and everybody knows and everybody speculates that he's probably not going to sign with the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they just suck. They're not as good as we thought they were going to be, like how good they were last year. And then also, he has like a year left with them, and I don't think that's where he wants to be. I think he wants to be in New York. He's from New York, and New York has had their eyes on him, like OG Anunoby, for maybe 2 years now. And so I think Donovan Mitchell is someone that the New York Knicks are looking at. Personally, I don't think it would be a good fit for the New York Knicks, especially when you have Jalen Brunson already. But I'm not surprised that the New York Knicks got OG Anunoby. This is great for the New York Knicks. I think the Raptors, though, I think the Raptors won this trade. They got Immanuel Quickley, and they got RJ Barrett. I think RJ Barrett's a better player than OG Anunoby. I think defensively, OG Anunoby is better. He can guard a lot more players, just because I think he's bigger and he's a little bit quicker and more nimble than RJ Barrett. But I think RJ Barrett is overall the better player, and so I think the Raptors get better there. And I like the RJ Barrett acquisition for the Toronto Raptors, mainly because this is what I've been saying for almost 2 years, that the Raptors need to focus on rebuild, right? They're gonna you need to pivot to rebuild mode, right? And that happened with Scottie Barnes, but now they've gotten RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett's only actually 1 year older than Scottie Barnes, if you can't believe, right? RJ Barrett's been in the league for 4 years. Scottie Barnes has been in the league for 2 years, right? But RJ is only a year older. So these guys, they can grow up together, right? They can develop into stars that can lead the Toronto Raptors to the promised land someday in the future. So I like that they're almost the same age, because that puts them kind of on the same timeline. But this is what I like, right? And the Raptors got back draft capital. They got back draft compensation that they're going to use this upcoming offseason, or they're going to draft. I don't know who they're going to draft, but I like that. They got Immanuel Quickley. I'm not really. He's a mid player. Nothing really to be really like excited about, but I think this is where the Toronto Raptors need to go. This is a big gamble, and I'm not going to be surprised if they trade Pascal Siakam as well. I think, like OG Anunoby, it's been a long time coming that Pascal Siakam is going to be traded. I've been saying it for 2 years now that Pascal Siakam needs to be traded. Now, I wish we would have traded him a long time ago, because I knew the Toronto Raptors were always going to get to this spot where they were going to get rid of Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, and Kyle Lowry, because those guys, although they were good for that championship run, they didn't have a future in Toronto. Like, Toronto had hit a ceiling with them as the primary starters, as the primary go-to guys, especially Pascal Siakam. I've made plenty of videos talking about how the Toronto Raptors need to move off of Pascal Siakam being the primary ball scorer and go get someone good. I said it when Kevin Durant was on the market, and I would have liked to trade for Kevin Durant, but he's not on the market anymore. But all the way back like 2 years, I've been saying it. So don't be surprised if the Toronto Raptors also get rid of Pascal Siakam. But yeah, guys, those are just my thoughts on this trade. That was surprising, but welcome home to RJ Barrett. Until next time.